Hello children, I hope that you all are feeling fine. I welcome you all to our special English hour. Here we learn lots of new things, and while learning these things, we also have fun. Are you ready for some fun? Let's get started. Children, do you think planting trees is important? Yes, planting trees is very important for our environment. पेड़ लगाना हमारे पर्यावरण के लिए बहुत जरूरी है. Now, children, do you think trees play an important role in our environment? Of course, trees play a very important role in our environment. Trees breathe in carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen. That is why we are able to breathe clean air, which means that trees are lungs of our planet. Trees purify the air that we breathe. But today we are facing a huge problem. We see that for our purpose, that is the purpose of humans, we cut down many trees. And most of these things happen in the name of development and commerce. हमें आज के ज़माने में ये दिखाई देता है कि इंसान अपने स्वार्थ और पैसे के लिए बहुत सारे पेड़ काट देता है. Do you think that is affecting our environment? Of course it is. We cut down trees to set up factories, and from these factories we face air pollution, water pollution, and even sound pollution. Apart from this, global warming is a problem that is harassing the entire world, and we don't know how we should battle it. जब हम पेड़ काटते हैं, तब हम ये देखते हैं कि धरती पे उसका बहुत बुरा असर होता है. हमें अलग-अलग तरह के प्रदूषण नजर आते हैं, जिस वजह से पूरी की पूरी धरती खतरे में है. हम ग्लोबल वार्मिंग के बारे में जानते ही हैं और पढ़ते भी हैं, और कैसे ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की वजह से पूरी दुनिया एक ही समस्या से जूझ रही है. Now, children, I have another question for you. We all know that we need to protect our environment. But how can we do that? We need to plant as many trees as possible. We need to protect these trees. As I said, trees are the lungs of our environment, and without them, we cannot survive, which is why it is very important that we protect them. And the basic step towards it is by planting trees. Children, we all know that it is very important for all of us to learn new words. So now, let's learn some new words. You will see these words in the story when we read it. So I request you to please make a note of these words in your notebooks. आज हम कुछ नए शब्द सीखेंगे. मैं चाहती हूँ कि आप इन शब्दों को अपने नोटबुक में लिखें. Fertile, fertile, fertile. The soil in Western Ghats is fertile. Honored. 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 He was honored with a medal for his act of bravery. Herd. 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 I saw a herd of cows. Sandbars. 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 We see sandbars on the beach. Saplings. 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 I plant saplings on my birthday. Children, now let's read a wonderful story from our textbook. Please open page number 83 of your textbook. This story is called Molai's Kathoni. Now I will be reading this story and I request you to point at the words as I read them. And if you don't have a textbook, listen to me carefully. मैं ये कहानी आपको पढ़ के सुनाऊंगी. मैं चाहती हूँ कि आप इन शब्दों को अपने बुक में पॉइंट करें. और अगर आपके पास बुक ना हो तो आप मुझे ध्यान से सुनिए. One day in a terrible summer season of 1979 changed the life of Jadav Peng. He lived in a small village on the banks of the Brahmaputra. The Brahmaputra is a great river. In places, it is more than 7 to 8 kilometers wide. It has many sandbars and even an island known as Majuli Island. Waters of the Brahmaputra often flood Majuli and the sandbars. At times, the river even sweeps away some of the sandbars. When Jadav was about 15 years old, he saw a terrible sight. On one of the sandbars, thousands of snakes lay dead. They had been washed ashore with the flood. With no trees to protect them, they had all died in the scalding sun. Jadav was simply horrified. He sat down and wept. There and then he found his mission: to turn the sandy barren land green with trees. For more than 30 long years, Jadav Peng toiled on the dry, barren area and transformed it into a forest. This story is about Jadav Peng. Jadav Peng lived in a small village on the banks of river Brahmaputra. ये कहानी जादव पेंग के बारे में है. वो ब्रह्मपुत्रा के नदी किनारे रहता था. Now Brahmaputra is a very big river and it has many islands and sandbars. What are sandbars? Sandbars are places where the river meets the sea. सैंडबार वो जगह होती है जहां नदी समंदर से मिलती है. Every year, the river Brahmaputra floods, and with these floods, it destroys many islands. One such island was Island Majuli. One day, Jadav saw that the island Majuli was flooded, and on the shore, what he saw terrified him. There were many dead snakes lying on the shore. उसने मरे हुए सांप देखे. These snakes were dead because there were no trees to protect them. When he saw this sight, he felt very bad. But at that point, he made a decision. He decided to turn this barren land into a forest. Jadav Peng's family and friends called him Molai. At first, Molai worked in a forest department scheme to plant trees. For some reason, that work stopped. All the other laborers left, but not Molai. He decided to carry on the work all by himself. He went to the forest department officers and the elders in his village. Molai, nothing grows on the sandbars. Don't waste your time. Many of them advised. But someone told him to try growing bamboo. The forest department people gave him some saplings. Early next morning, Molai went to the island and planted his first tree carefully. After that, he visited the island every day, watering and tending the plants with love. The plants began to grow. With them, Molai's hopes also grew. He began to look for more saplings and other types of trees. He brought silk cotton saplings next. To his delight, they took root on the island. Part of the island was now dotted with green. Jadav Payne's family and friends called him Molai. At first, Molai worked with the forest department scheme. He wanted to bring a change, but suddenly the work stopped, and there was no reason given as to why has the work stopped. Many laborers who worked with Jadav left the job, but Jadav still continued. He wanted to plant trees. He went from department to department asking for permissions. All the elders and government officials told him that it is very difficult to grow trees on sandbars. But Jadav was determined. Someone told him that he should try planting bamboo saplings. So he did that, and they started growing. Now, Jadav started visiting the island every day. He used to nurture them and love them. Later, he also tried planting different types of saplings, and they also started growing and nourishing on the land. And with this, hopes of Jadav also grew. He thought that he had brought about a change. Half part of the island was now covered in green. Molai now spent all his time on the small island. Every day, without fail, He watered the plants, made fences around them, gave support to the saplings. He even carried good soil in his little boat and spread it near the plants. Someone told him that red ants are good for the soil. They would make the sandy soil fertile. Molai then carried heaps of them to the island. He was not put out by the ant bites. He also took different types of grasses there. The green patches on the island became thicker and bigger. For months and years, Molai worked all alone on the small patch of the island. He lived in the company of trees. He spoke to them. Maybe the trees understood his language, his words of affection. They responded by growing vigorously. With trees came birds, insects, and animals. They liked the place. Unknowingly, they brought many more seeds to the place. The place began to get rich with different forms of life. Even then, Molai did not abandon his work. The forest now became a second home for him. People in that area named it Molai's Kathoni or Molai's forest. Today, Molai's Kathoni covers an area of nearly 1,500 acres. And with Molai's efforts, it is growing every day. It houses thousands of different trees and plants and birds and animals, including deer, apes, and even rhinos and tigers. To cap it all, a herd of about 100 elephants has started visiting the forest every year. They stay there for about 3 months. The elephant visits show that the whole forest is in very good health. Molai is a happy man today. With so many trees being planted on the island, many birds, animals, and insects started coming to the island. And along with them, they brought different types of seeds, which became a part of the island and became plants and trees. People living on the island started calling it Molai's Kathoni or Molai's forest. All this was not just smooth sailing. Apart from the hardships Molai had to suffer on the island, working there in heavy rains and scorching heat. He had to face opposition from the people too. He never thought of stealing from the forest, but others did. He had to guard his island against poachers. When people wanted to cut down the trees, he stood up in their defense like a rock. You will have to cut me before you cut the trees, he warned. When the elephants came, they caused a lot of damage on the way. They destroyed the rice fields and huts. Even Molai's own hut was destroyed. People wanted to beat up Molai because it was his forest that invited the elephants. Molai was not afraid. He was firm in his resolve to create and protect a green cover for the land. In the end, most people left the area. They shifted the village to make way for the elephants. Even though the work that Molai was doing was so good, he faced a lot of problems. He had to work in scorching heat and heavy rainfall. But apart from this, he also faced problems from people. He never thought that someone might enter his island, and so he had to protect his island from such people. There were people who also wanted to cut down the trees, but Molai was very firm on his stand. He told them that if you want to cut down my trees, you will have to cut down me first. This goes to prove how strong-headed Molai was. Molai keeps cattle for his own living. Luckily, he has full support from his family. They help him in his work in all possible ways. Molai's children will carry on his work. People outside Molai's own tribe didn't know about Molai's work. One day, a photographer roaming in that area found Molai working in his forest and guarding it. When he came to know that Molai had grown the forest single-handedly, he was greatly impressed. He told the media, newspapers, TV channels, etc. about Molai's single-handed achievement. The forest department was impressed too. They decided to help Molai in his work. The government honored him with the Padma Shri Award. Molai now wants to spread his message throughout the country. Each one of us should plant and grow at least 2 trees. The trees will take care of the carbon dioxide we'll produce throughout our life and give us enough oxygen to breathe. Are you ready to help? Now, people outside Molai's tribe did not know about the work that he was doing. One day, a photographer saw Molai. He saw that this man was protecting this forest. When he spoke to him and he realized that Molai had single-handedly created this forest, he was highly impressed and he told about Molai to media, television, radio and newspapers. And when this reached to the forest department, they were highly impressed and they also helped Molai. Molai was also awarded the Padma Shri Award. Children, today we read a wonderful story about Molai and his hard work to protect our environment. For homework, I request you to find out names of 10 different types of trees in your surroundings and write at least one line about them. आपके होमवर्क के लिए मैं चाहती हूँ कि आप अपने आसपास के 10 अलग अलग प्रकारों के पेड़ों के नाम अपने नोटबुक में लिखें और उसके साथ साथ हर पेड़ के बारे में एक लाइन लिखें। On that note, I will take your leave. I will see you all in our next session. Until then, take care and stay safe. Bye bye.